Alright, just checking to see if I'm live here. This is a test for one. First step is making a test of this connection. So I guess I'm looking for a possible response. If there's silence, then I'll assume it's not working. But whatever, I'll continue on anyway, because I just like to ramble on. Next is I wanted to talk about some issues that I've come across that I find interesting. I might not bring forth the issues as accurately as I should, but I'm just working with what I remember and what I'm thinking of at the time. What do we got here? Alright, things are going good. Okay, maybe I'll just clip this. Just remind me if I would try to walk away, not to forget about this. I only have what is this? Few feet cord. So yes, welcome to my new place. I found a new home that I'll be abiding by the law. I'll be following the law, and just. I know that the smaller picture will get frozen, but yep, the rain's picking up. I'm gonna need to roll up some windows. Okay, I didn't check the forecast. What's the forecast look? Where am I? I gotta remember which city I'm in. Let's see, what's the forecast? I'll just look here. Quincy, the weather says 92% chance of rain at 4 p.m. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty high. I'm gonna roll up my windows. Alright, just need to take a break already. Just take a break, everybody. The rain just started. Okay, so had to take care of some personal details. Alright, now I got some criminal issues I want to complain about. Where do I start? Now I really can't show this information and I hope it comes back. There it is. Alright, I was somebody brought to my attention this this Ralph fella's. Yeah, he's got all the websites. I'm going to read some interesting stuff, and then I want to read after that what my lawyer has said about how Louisiana law works. So I'll read his first, and then I'll read what my lawyer says. But let me get my lawyer's information up. All right, I saved it in a file. Phil's thoughts. I asked him if it was okay if I read it. He said, cool, man. And let's see, because he's a cool guy like that. Okay, I'm going to put it in a file ready. Okay, and paste. Okay, I got a new window to exploit. So this just be a second. So it'd be under window capture. Am I being heard okay? Frozen again? Okay. Frozen okay. So I don't have a great connection. I have 2 bars. So I'm not being totally aware, but I have 2 bars. Do I? Yep, I got a new RV now. Welcome to my new home. Alright, there it is. Alright. Now I'm going to shrink that. Don't read it. Alright, don't read that yet. Shrink it to there. I'm going to read this one guy's bit of information. So, let's start here. Now this is about my Fourth Amendment protections. And I think Phil's is about Fourth Amendment stuff. Fourth Amendment Louisiana nonsense in Louisiana. Okay, I got to shrink one thing. Alright, and just double check. That was at the bottom. Alright. Oh no, that was a little different. I'll read it anyway. It was a little different, but I'll read it anyway. What do we got? Rent, gas. Yeah, I need a lot of donations right now. This thing does not. Gas is almost $5 a gallon. This thing is not cheap to move around. There has to be something better happening in the world. This is depressing. Audio is good. The frame rate is choppy. Well, I know my small picture. This small picture thing is choppy, but my GoPro too. My GoPro is choppy. All right. So this channel I was alerted to, and it's interesting to me. I just read his description. I didn't even watch his video yet. I did download it though. And so he wrote a nice description. I appreciate the channels that write nice descriptions. I can't afford one-time payments every now. Okay. This is my own private domicile. All right. All right. Refuse, and this is Ralph K. Let's see. If I just Ralph K. Where the storm clouds are gathering. It's kind of jeez. It's kind of poetic. Yeah, you might. All right. Refusal of citizen to identify self. The common law does not require a citizen to identify oneself or carry identification of any sort. Therefore, while it may be the mark of a good citizen, slave, to identify oneself, when asked to do so, a police officer must not use force to compel someone to identify oneself if he or she refuses. Otherwise, the officer will be guilty of criminal assault and liable to civil damages. Cochlin v. Wah, 1957. This general rule often places a police officer in a difficult position. The officer may become suspicious of a certain person's conduct and may simply wish to ask him or her to identify themselves so that the officer can be satisfied that the person is not up to some sort of mischief. If a person refuses to cooperate, can he or she be charged with obstructing the police? Section 129A of the Criminal Code makes it an offense to willfully obstruct a public or police officer. Common law has never considered it an offense of obstruction for a person to refuse to identify oneself and thus prevent a police officer from carrying out his or her duty. So in Louisiana, we have Napoleonic law, and this guy, he made a video from 9 days ago. He's talking about common law, and Louisiana just hates that common law, hates to refer to common law. It's like the city judges in Louisiana, their jurisdiction is so limited that they don't even recognize common law. They don't go above the city. They definitely are experts on city ordinances, but state law, a little bit. Federal law, that's common law nonsense. That's outside of their jurisdiction. Common law is outside of city judges' jurisdiction, in Louisiana. All right, that's disturbing. Yeah, I got James Freeman wants to know if I bought an RV. Yes, welcome to my abode. Check this thing out. Isn't this awesome? I got my kitchen area and my bed. You can see my car right out there. It's pretty decent. I'm living. I spent all that money. My lawyer didn't get a dime. They all came to me, you suckers. And this is what you bought. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Keep sending me money. It's going to a good place. All right, let me read this my lawyer's comments. We got it over here. Now this has to do with a little bit something different, and we'll just read it and talk about it afterward. As for, I'll shrink it a little bit. No, my face is showing. Actually, what I can do is make it bigger. There we go. All right. As for the several motions to suppress and the motion to dismiss, I'll leave it at the same font. I want 3/7/2022's transcript provided by Daniel. The trial court was correct in not ruling on the motions to suppress without having evidence presented to it, but this isn't a big deal in my opinion, and I'll explain why. When one files a motion to suppress, one is asking for certain evidence to be excluded from use at trial. Since a motion to suppress is fact-intensive, a judge cannot render a ruling without first hearing evidence in support of that motion. While one generally makes allegations in a written motion, those allegations become evidence if they can be proved at a hearing through witness testimony and or other documentation. Travis would have needed to essentially call all relevant witnesses to show that his detention and or arrest were unlawful, in violation of the Fourth Amendment, to suppress any evidence obtained as a result of any unlawful detention and or arrest. Basically, in this case, that would have meant calling almost all of the witnesses who testified at trial. You would have basically had a trial before a trial, if that makes sense. Generally, a motion to suppress evidentiary hearing will not involve the same content as a trial, but will be much more confined. However, because of the charge brought against Travis, his motion to suppress hearing would have necessarily involved virtually the same witnesses as were brought to trial. Now, the 3/7/2022 transcript shows that the judge was willing to hold open the motions to suppress until the trial, and then render a ruling after hearing evidence. The trial transcript doesn't reflect any ruling on the motions to suppress, though. Despite this deficiency, I personally don't think that the motions to suppress matter because I don't think that Travis said anything incriminating post-detention or post-arrest, nor was any incriminating evidence found post-detention or post-arrest, so there is really nothing to suppress that could be used against him. From a strategic standpoint, these motions, while merited on constitutional grounds, were unnecessary since there was nothing incriminating to suppress. Travis committed no crime, made no incriminating statement, and did not possess any contraband. Even if the pornography were used against Travis, it would fall under the plain view doctrine since it was on his screen per the officers. However, he has not been charged with any pornography offense, so the pornography is irrelevant in my opinion. While the judge and prosecutor tried to use it against him, and did, they also contradicted themselves by claiming the pornography was irrelevant before they later used it against him. It's in my application for a writ. I actually think it looks better before an appellate court if we don't worry about the motions to suppress, for the reasons presented earlier, and because when you file a motion to suppress, you are necessarily saying that there is incriminating evidence against you. But it can't be used because it was unconstitutionally obtained. Well, I don't think there is any incriminating evidence against Travis, so why even go down that path? It looks better if he simply stands on his innocence since he's innocent. As for the motion to dismiss, more appropriately styled as a motion to quash, the same reasoning applies as would apply for the motions to suppress. Evidence would need to be heard. Because of the unique nature of the charge, that evidence would basically be all the evidence presented at trial. The judge held open this motion for trial, but there was no record as to any ruling on it. Whoops. I didn't put his information available there, did I? I thought I X'd that out. Wait a second. Cancel. Let me just shrink that up again. I'll just shrink it up to a really tiny box there. I didn't think I showed his information. That'd be weird. Thought I was paying attention. Oh no, I didn't show. Just his name. All right. So, what do the comments say? What are all the thoughts about this? What porn exactly was this? What porn exactly? I know. Where's the evidence of that? I'm asking the same questions as you. Alien Gonzalez. An RV would be way better to sleep in than in front driver's seat. You got me. My car is killing me. This I can really stretch out, really kick up a leg or two. Feels so much better to have room. There's a lot to be learned when living. Yeah, I need to know how to keep this RV in good shape. I'm nearly falling through the floor here. I got too good of a deal. All right, there wasn't porn. They claimed porn was on his porn computer to pornly embarrass him. They would have shown porn if it was real porn. All right. My next vehicle is going to be a yacht. I gotta have a land yacht and a water yacht. Thank you, SMSCG. Knowing that Travis watched the same porn, I couldn't watch it. It would be soiled. Yep, eyes have a way of really causing offensive actions. So these thoughts that YouTuber has and that my lawyer has, they're quite interesting. I totally agree with what the YouTuber says about not having to show ID and all that. But and my lawyer says something else on a different topic. But what my lawyer has to present for his thoughts seem to go against what I have been getting familiar with in my experiences in other states. I mean, in Idaho, the motion to suppress evidence worked. Okay, that was a failure to ID case. I was getting charged with just simply failure to ID, and my lawyer, Robert Chastain, attorney, public defender Robert Chastain, or court-appointed attorney, he filed a motion to suppress, and saying that all evidence gathered by the police was you couldn't submit it. It was illegal. It was fruit of the poisonous tree. And they don't look at it that way in Louisiana. All right? It's just so screwed up in Louisiana because they have written in the law that in the resisting arrest or state law that also failure to failure to reveal and identify yourself is illegal and is also resisting arrest. And that stands on its own, and because that stands on its own, and probably there's some other screwed up laws too that follow in the same light under this Napoleonic law that they love to worship. That screws up the whole defense. It makes your defense so much different than you find in other states. Just saying, a motion to suppress would not have been something any lawyer would file in Louisiana. I mean, he's making it sound like lawyers in Louisiana do not bother filing motion to suppress. So that's a very different approach to criminal defense with Louisiana compared to other states. Motions to file as a defense after you file your motion for discovery, your motion for bill of particulars, maybe ask for the witness list, maybe also, just for good measure, file a motion to compel evidence after you file your motion for discovery evidence. File your motion for discovery evidence, wait a couple of weeks, then file motion to compel evidence, just to claim that the prosecutor is holding back, because they do. That may be a Louisiana thing too. Prosecutors hold back on the evidence. These two videos, one now I have on my channel. What's MCG say? When the policeman lied on that transcript and deleted your video on your phone, did you sue them? No, I did not. Seems really tough to get money from the government, but correcting this judge's behavior is worth it. Yeah. See, that's the thing. It's like there's varying levels of support for corrupt activities. In Idaho, the corruption was simply, it seems to be simply centered on the officer that arrested me, because the judge understood that this was going to be a constitutional debate. The prosecutor, I mean, he sounded like in that hearing that he was going to really fight for a conviction, but then just later dropped the charge. So he wasn't that dirty. He wasn't playing it that dirty. There's different levels of corruption. Like in Bethany, Missouri, the cop was the dirty guy. He had to start the charges, get me thrown in jail, go through all the procedure on his part. But then when it got to the prosecutor and judge, it got dropped a lot quicker, the quickest I've ever seen. The levels on the different rungs of the ladder, there's also different level of corruption going on. And it's just, how do you find that out before you go to the city? It's really difficult. I have to research hundreds of people a day. Let's see, Erican cheetah print. I don't even know where I could find that, but now that I got a little money going towards it, I guess I should do some research. Thank you. Let's see, Blue Unicorn, what do you say? Municipal courts cannot hear constitutional. Yeah, that's where you always challenge jurisdiction. Yeah, that's the trade-off, huh? They won't listen to constitutional issues, so the trade-off is that you have to argue more about jurisdictional issues. That's the frustrating part about this. I was just continuing to try to hammer the Constitution, and however that works. I never even formed. I guess I never formed any serious arguments about Constitution. I guess the closest I got was to just ask the judge to recuse himself. I did request to be transferred to the district court, but he said, "Oh, it's in the law. You can't do that. So it's Napoleonic law. You can't be transferred to the higher courts for a better decision." I need a decorator? What? What's the matter with this place? I spent minutes putting this together. Um, so that's I think that's the main points. My lawyer really brought to light some interesting thoughts, and it's kind of tough. It's tough to take it in, conduct their business, and I can't see my mouse anymore. Well, I guess I can just tap. Nope. There we go. Oh, nope, not that one. Nope. Move it. Okay. There we go. Now I want the other corner. Nope, not that one. Yeah, I just can't. Motion across. Yeah, the same reasoning applies. So for months, a couple of months, we spent time going over, trying to create a motion to suppress evidence, trying to make legal arguments, and the city judge was definitely not interested in any in arguing law. His only response after all the effort, I guess I could say my team put in was just read motion to suppress evidence and didn't even bother to read it. Just saying he thinks that the Louisiana law is constitutional, and that's it. There's nothing else to talk about at the city level. But I mean, this is the same judge who can put people away for up to 6 months in jail. And that's a constitutional issue. There's Article 8 issues. There's the issue of me being denied a lawyer, Article 6. I mean, we're talking about a court that refuses to argue constitutional issues, and their only response is they just think it's all constitutional. You know, how the law is written and how he's conducting his court. And then yeah, just argue real non-criminal issues, and it's all constitutional, arguing non-criminal issues about what the imaginative issues that the librarians had about my conduct, about how I was acting. And there's a big issue about me hiding behind a plant. Let's say, I don't know, what could I use as an example of a plant? How about this? So this pillow. So I'm here. Say I'm at the library right now, playing on my computer, getting things all arranged. I set this computer up ready for the cops to show up. And I don't know. The librarian was to my right. Okay. Let's see what's SMCG say. Wow, you're really helping out here. I appreciate it. I'm deeply offended by how the city judge bashed you. Yeah, he's literally living in his car. He said that, and you could read that on the transcript at the end. The most interesting part of the transcript, the most damning part, is the conviction and the sentencing. We pay you to audit government buildings and show how they operate. He should have to apologize for bashing your job. Apologize? How do you get a judge if there's any history, if there's any evidence of a judge apologizing to a defendant, I would like to see that. That would set precedents that I could use against this judge for sure. So there was a point at the library. There was this issue that Chump had with his spying on me, which, you know, it it's I don't know if Rose called was called exactly. Within minutes, I wasn't at the library but 10 minutes before the cops showed up. 5 to 10 minutes. So it happened really quickly. I wanted to use a sideways glance. So I noticed that, and it seemed like he was like interested in me, like in an intimate way. It was really unnerving, because it was this like this action that showed that he was kind of let's say he was focused on me, but not quite looking at me. And I was actually turning my head and looking at the guy. I'm like, what's what's going on with you? But he would never actually look at me, but he was showing this strange interest, looking out the side of his eye. And he says he was doing that. And I found that interesting, for somebody to say that they did that out of fear. They've never. He was fearing for his life, doing that, trying to look at me out of the corner of his eye, and pretty much saying that he couldn't see anything. He limited his head movement to a fixed position forward, and wouldn't move his head any way, especially towards me, and only moved his eyes enough to try to just glance sideways at me and try not to look like he was watching me. And I was feeling the tension, like there was this weird sexual tension that was happening. And it turns out in his statements that he was looking, and a plant was in the way. There was like this, and you don't see any plant. I showed up was in the way. There was caution tape, but he didn't say caution tape. He said there was a plant, and I didn't see any plant in person, and I don't see any on the body cam footage either. But for some reason there was this plant that foiled his ability to see what I was doing. I will say that there was a fake house plant on my left side, okay, not on my right side, and it was about the size of this pillow, all right, smaller than the size of this pillow. On my left side, at the corner, okay, there at the corner where he wasn't looking, it was the corner where the cops boxed me in with their wing formation. That plant was there. It was a fake plastic plant. It was in the way of nothing. He could see, everybody could situated in a manner where I was laying things out all on my right side. He could see down my right side from where he was standing, and that's where I was laying everything. Yet we have this claim that he was fearful. He was fearful because he got offended, because apparently I was too rude to Rose after she asked me if she could help me. That's when they got offended at me. It wasn't. I don't think it was before. The first floor talked nothing about being offended, and I'm sure Coach Benjamin asked the first floor if they had anything to say about this incident, and they didn't seem to. Obviously, they weren't called to the stands. He would have certainly called them if they wanted to say anything negative about me. Anything positive? Oh, we can't discuss anything positive about this. We gotta only use we only gotta paint. We only want to paint Travis in the negative light. So keep an eye out soon for audits under See What I'm Saying News. See What I'm Saying News. Where's he going? And I see Lackluster's on the channel. Can I go back a little bit? It's okay. What's the last thing Lackluster said? That's a pretty symbol is pretty pretty easy to catch at the upside down L's. Yo, yo, yo. So they got scared for their lives because they got offended. So that's the standard. They've created a standard. They have, maybe the standard's already been in place, and I'm just here to find out how the standard is. Maybe this is not setting any precedent. This is just how they've always been doing. This is how they've always been conducting their business, by using by saying that they get offended, and then manufacturing that into fear. They manufacture so much, they manufacture so much non-drama into drama. Starting with the librarians, just saying that I'm offended, so now I'm scared, to the dispatch, turning that fear, that manufactured fear, into practically terroristic activity, checking the doors, casing the place, to the cops, manufacturing a crime out of the interaction. They're able to turn a let's see some ID into a crime. A failure to ID by itself is a crime in Louisiana. To the of course the prosecutor being the orchestrator of everything, from what the librarian said to what the dispatch said to what the cops said. He's like a conductor of an orchestra. He's sitting there putting it all together, having the trombones play at the right time, and the violins playing at the right time, orchestrating all of this manufactured drama in the court, on paper, and during the pretrial motions, and then into the trial, to present his performance of which was not the best performance, but it was enough to get Judge Owsley to stand behind it. Judge Owsley stood behind my 48-hour arrest, and then the conviction and sentencing. I don't really have any more to add to this. Because this is ongoing right now. What is happening right now? Yeah, there's no reasonable, articulable suspicion. So, and that's what my lawyer's arguing. I can't show the application for a writ that my lawyer is writing right now. Actually, is it my lawyer or our lawyer? It's my lawyer, kind of our lawyer. But he's asked the email group, the specialized email group, to not share his arguments at this time. He doesn't even have all the transcripts. We only have the trial transcript, and that's it. We're still waiting on the clerks to also finish the first five hearings and send them to the lawyer. And then he's going to have a couple extra arguments to add to his application for a writ. It's like 30. You're limited to 30 pages, and if you want 40 pages, you pay an extra $50. So if you want to add more pages to your application for a writ to the third district appeals court, you pay an extra $50 to get a few more pages for them to read. So I'm lost in this post trial process. I can only say that I'm in a position where I'm on bonds, $1,500. I have 4 more days to serve. I have $411 fine, and one of us, me or my lawyer, needs to go to the court by July 18th and explain what's going on with that situation. So we got some time there. I just found the channel a few weeks ago. What happened to auditors supporting other auditors like in Texas? Well, Texas has got a lot going on. People are scared of Louisiana's Napoleonic law. In Texas, more other states can relate to the legal processes in Texas a lot more than other states can relate to the legal process in Louisiana. Louisiana wants to be special, but I mean, if you put a little effort in, you can bring Louisiana up to the standard of the rest of the states. But I don't know what motivations can you find to do that, to put up with their pushback, because they push back on every single level. I'm kicked out of the library for life. All right, I've been thrown in jail. I was denied my public records requests. I can't even get the police policies. The judge said that he didn't see them as relevant. There's pushback on every level, and there's this secrecy that they continue to enforce so that they can continue delivering chicken to their snitches with their snitch program, I think it's under the Crime Stoppers. I think that the cops are shooting their guns off in the city about as much as the criminals. I think there's a competition going on there. And you don't you'd be amazed to hear how much how often they shoot their guns in the city of 17,000. Is that normal for a city of 17,000 people to shoot their guns off in the city almost every night? And it's a nighttime, sometimes early morning. But almost every night, a city of 17,000 people, you'll hear gunshots go off. That's a little unusual. I mean, I've been to cities where it's almost every night that you'll hear something like fireworks. All right, more like fireworks and gunshots. But when you hear that rat-tat-tat-tat, that automatic from the AR-15s, generally, they don't seem to like shooting off handguns in the city. It seems like there's a preference for the type of gun that they like to shoot off in the city, and that seems to be some kind of a machine gun. The most popular one is the AR-15, and however they modify it, and that's common in lots of cities in Louisiana. Somebody mentioned Baton Rouge. If you responded to the gunfire and how often it happens, yeah, it's a lot of cities. I heard it a lot in Monroe. In fact, man, I should have turned on my police scanner. Let's take a couple of minutes and listen to my police scanner. I got it in my car. Let me take another break here. Let's see if anything's happening. All right. I'll just spend a couple more minutes here trying to think of things to say. Maybe get some ideas off of chat. and listening to this police scanner, see if anything is happening at this time. They at least do radio checks. They give each other updates. It's just not active only for calls. They'll do just general security checks too on the radio, just to keep it running, keep people alert, and just what do you say? Alert. And there's another word. I think it starts with an S. I can't think of it. Yeah, the AR-15s. Not AR-15s are more semi-automatic than automatic. I think. You get the 3-round burst. All right, we go through. Let's see if I can. Does that show? Maybe I can make that a little. Oh, I still can't see my mouse. Let's see. So these are all the local. Man, there's some. How do I get rid of that? What I need to darken the room, I guess. Going through Missouri and Illinois. Starcom 21 is new to me. I've never seen that one before. Just only going through the emergency services. Yeah, not much at the moment. Maybe it's a nice quiet area. They don't need to respond to a lot. Who knows? There's a disaster every day in Natchitoches, Louisiana. That radio traffic is very active, and it's disturbing because we're talking about people who are setting fires to their houses. Look for that dark-colored Dodge van. So, yeah, they keep active for the dumbest things in Natchitoches. I mean, I argue that they have the low standards of arrest, but let's see. What is my most I'm kind of at a loss for ideas, and maybe I could show my Twitter, and I'll read some of my tweets. Isn't that what celebrities like to do? That got the most votes, but these guys get thousands of votes. Let's see. I'll open up a new page. Let's see if anything jogs my thoughts. Yeah, there it is. Nice picture of Cloyd there. I didn't make that. Okay, there it is. All right. So, looks like I've gotten a few extra subscribers, so that's gonna affect how many hearts I get for each tweet. But some kind of stand out more than others. All right, these I don't know. These not all of them are repeatable about criminal stuff on here. Some don't get any. It's got 10 votes. One librarian called me a bomber. The other called me a shooter. 2 cops called me a pornographer. 1 cop called me Mr. Claiborne. The judge called me a videographer. The prosecutor called me a noise event. I've not had contact with you. They all have their own reasons for convicting me. It's like they changed their approach. it was like, it was just this I was this multi-offender of so many different things. And so the judge just kind of picked what he wanted to, which was, and that was pretty much, yeah, being a videographer out of all of that. They couldn't just stick with they couldn't stick with one thing. Here's another that got 10 votes. Not only
White Punch fan. C. Charles Y. Young, 32623. C. Charles Y. Young, 32623.
Not only did the cops have something to prove.
2036, C. Charles Y. Young, 3263, clear, white, 2014 Dodge van.
Clear, that's what I want to hear.
If anything comes back on that, that is a white male driver.
White male. Not only did the cops have something to prove, but so did the prosecutor and judge. In fact, the whole city rallied together against me. They really proved to this homeless guy how well their free federal dollars are spent. I think some of those votes were coming from the city officials too. Did any others get 10 votes, or not really? Everything else I have said the past few weeks really don't get the traction, because I'm not really saying anything great. For a lawyer is practically putting me in another tax bracket. Is that right? Not only am I dealing with this, looks like I froze. When did I freeze? All right, I'm gonna get rid of a window. I've never had the GoPro freeze on me. Yes. Let's see, that's that one. Okay. Okay, no, what?
2036, I-72 westbound milepost 13. I-72 westbound milepost 13.
Ah, yes, deactivate and activate. Okay, there we go. See, they put this new feature in where you can deactivate and activate. So yeah, this is my new Patriot, camper, just hanging out here. I'll have a place to really breaks from all my patriotism as I work through this legal, no new legal. I just but yeah, that's nature is a real beast in these parts. Not just wild, not just like warm-blooded animals, not just cold-blooded animals, just the bugs. It's when I was in Hannibal, there was this, and that's the birthplace of Mark Twain.
1700 East Henderson County, 34 eastbound, 1700 East Henderson County. It's a Ray, I believe it's a Lexus passenger car. Ray, Lexus passenger car. D. David C. Charles, 88125, DC 88125.
All right. Yeah. There's a on this sign, this bridge that's no longer there in Hannibal, across the Mississippi River. It said that they got mayflies every year on that bridge, attracted to the lights, and they would cover the.
That's initiation.
These
1430, go ahead.
This initiation be 21710, Illinois 95. 21710, Illinois 95, Medina County. The abandoned vehicle on owner's property. Can you start with next rotation? Have a 28 ready.
These mayflies would cover the bridge 2 inches thick and cause cars to slip. The mayflies would cover this bridge that much, like in May, I guess. I'm seeing the night bugs, the ones that flash.
2017 GA utility.
Timber. Can you also sign a tow number?
1430, Timber.
There is no shortage of bugs in these parts. They'll gather in clouds in some areas. I never really noticed that in the deserts of the Southwest and the West. but they gather more in cloud. So I don't have anything else to say. How long have I been on? Let's X out there. An hour. Here is that a tiny house? Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's spacious. My car is tiny. This is pretty spacious. Southern bugs are pretty bad. I, um, yeah, I know the northern bugs are bad, and I think in my theory that there's just not enough predators. Oh, I see. I think I lost connection. I got a red and yellow. So am I connected? I think I do see actually on this OBS software that it's flashing yellow and red. Like maybe I am cutting out a lot. And it's a matter of the distance I have from the Wi-Fi router. Fried mayflies, yeah. If the mayflies are 2 inches thick, if they collect 2 inches thick on that bridge, you could just scoop them up and then cook them. Are they any good? That's amazing. That's easy pickings right there. If you're willing to go through the effort. But yeah, I know northern bugs are bad just because there's virtually no predators. They just come out after a long winter of hibernation to just explode in population without any without any serious without any serious predators eating them up. They just collect in large numbers. And I don't think they can get away with that in the south so much. Yeah, is there a lot of buffalo?